Today on the channel, I've got another blast from the past. This is a launch OG fat PlayStation 3 that I bought off eBay with the original box and all of the goodies in it. In this video, we're gonna go over a bit of the history as well as take it out of the box and see what it's like to use in 2024. Let's jump right in. Before we continue on, huge thanks to Geology for sponsoring this video. When it comes to skincare, people, especially us guys, might not know the importance of building a routine or even where to begin. But Geology makes it simple. Since I'm on camera a lot, my goal was to have clearer skin and to keep acne at bay. So I took a 60-second quiz on their website, which matched me to a kit tailor-made for my specific skincare needs and budget. It shipped right to my doorstep, and so far, I'm very happy with the results. Geology prides themselves in the efficacy of their products using dermatologist-recommended ingredients that are proven to work. Plus, their products don't just stop at your face. They have a wide array of solutions for hair care as well as body care as well. If you would like to work on healthier skin and support the content that we make here on Denki, head over to geology.com by scanning the QR code on your screen or using the link in the description below. Take the quiz and use code DENKI70 to get 70% off your customized skincare trial set. Thanks again to Geology for sponsoring this video, and now back to our PS3. When it comes to PlayStation history, the PS3 generation was very interesting to say the least. For one, before it even launched, it had large shoes to fill. The PlayStation 2 that came before it was the clear winner of the previous generation. Not only did it have the most diverse library of exclusives and third-party titles, but it also doubled as an affordable DVD player, as those were becoming popular at the time. In fact, all of this would add up to the PS2 becoming the highest-selling console in history. Now, for the PlayStation 3, it came at a time when the world was just beginning to transition from standard definition TV to HD, and thus the expectations were high for a major leap in graphics and resolution. So, with a bunch of money in the bank, thanks to the immense success of the PlayStation 2, as well as the desire to absolutely crush the competition, Sony, along with some help from Toshiba, aimed to craft the most powerful home console ever. And in this box is the result of that effort, the launch PlayStation 3. First off, we have the 6-axis controller. Of course, this generation also had the DualShock 3, but the launch PS3 had the 6-axis, which was basically the same thing just without the rumble. We also get a power cable with what looks to be an antenna lead for some reason. I don't know what this connector is, but we'll have to investigate. What else we got here? Ethernet cable, hell yeah. RCA. HDMI, of course, because this is an HD console, and our paperwork, which is all in Japanese, because again, Japanese market console. Something I'll say about the included accessories here in the box is that a lot of them honestly look fairly new. This could be some due diligence by the seller to just give us new cables and whatnot, but even stuff like the controller, this is absolutely immaculate. I almost would like to say that they just gave us a new controller. And this instruction manual looks like it hasn't been touched. Not like anyone really needs to touch it. The PS3 is a pretty straightforward console. I could almost believe that this has stayed in the original packaging its entire life. I'm gonna go ahead and set these aside because I want to take a look at our actual PlayStation 3. Moment of truth. So it is completely covered in bubble wrap. Oh, yo! Holy crap, wait a minute. I mean, again, we spent 250 bucks on this, which I think is not the most expensive 60 gig PS3 you can find, but certainly up there. Can we get some of the dust off of here? We'll carefully wipe it down. The thing about the gloss black plastic on these fat PS3s is that they scratch like crazy. Part of the reason why I was being a little careful with wiping it down was because this thing is clean. I mean, there are some light scratches here and there, but you really need to get the light on it and see it in a particular way in order to find where those are. This was really taken care of. You know, I will say though that this might have been worked on before, because we do have a sticker where the warranty void would be. It does not look like the original one, unless the Japanese market ones were different. I'll have to go back and see for sure. Yeah, that don't look original. But that being said, however, if someone did refurbish this, especially if they did it to the exterior, they did a good job. Yeah, man, this is taking me back. And I keep forgetting just how large and heavy this console was. I mean, there was a lot of intricate hardware in here between the cell processor, the large hard drive, the Blu-ray player, the big power supply. This was a beefy machine. The 60GB PlayStation 3 in particular was the top of the line when this console came out. There's also a base model 20GB, which was way more bare bones, but really the 60GB was the one that you wanted, especially with only $100 difference between the two. And when this PlayStation 3 cost $600 new, why would you compromise at that point? Especially when the 60GB came with memory card slots. I especially used it to transfer files such as game saves and movies over to my PlayStation 3. It was super convenient. Of course, it also gave you a larger hard drive, but really the main selling point for me with the 60GB over the base model was the fact that this one had Wi-Fi. This was especially important because the PlayStation 3 in particular emphasized online gaming way more than its predecessor, the PlayStation 2. And of course, Wi-Fi is just more convenient than having to run a long cable over to my router. I will say one personal reason why I love the Fat PS3 in particular compared to other ones that came out down the line is because the level of functionality that you get with the original is unmatched. With the benefit of hindsight, nearly 2 decades later after launch, the claim to fame with these launch PlayStation 3s is the fact that they have backwards compatibility for PlayStation 2. Now, there is a bit of nuance when we factor in the 80GB models that would come in somewhat after the fact, but these launch consoles in particular, the Fat 60 and the Fat 20, actually had the PlayStation 2 emotion engine built into it, meaning that there was proper hardware backwards compatibility to let you play those games. Those 80GB PS3s would use software emulation to do backwards compatibility, where these launch consoles would do it purely through hardware, which makes it, in my opinion at least, the most ideal experience, at least in the context of these PlayStation 3s. But enough talk, let's actually plug this into power, get a TV, and actually play some games on it, and also talk a little further about what it's like to actually own one of these in 2024. All right, so I got our PS3 all plugged into power as well as over HDMI to our monitor here. Let's just go for it. Power it on. Nice. Hit the green light and it is spinning up. Cool. It powers on, screen showing stuff. Oh, I have to plug in the controller. This 6-axis controller actually uses mini USB, which I haven't seen in quite a long time. Luckily, there was one included in the box, so let's plug this in. We have our USB port down here and sweet. We are good to go. Gonna set this to English real quick. Now, because this is a Japanese market console, our X and circle buttons are flipped on the controller for what is to select and to go back. Before I really dive in here, what firmware am I running on this? Okay, this is on 4.41. Okay, 4.41 came out 11 years ago. Wow. April 24th, 2013. Okay, so that would put it a little less than 7 years after this console was made. And what's funny is that when we're looking at PlayStation 3 firmware, they actually released one not too long ago. It says here 4.91, which was released on February 27th of 2024 for some reason. Now, in addition to our firmware version, we also have our storage space available too. So again, this is the 60GB PS3, and of the 55 that are read by the PS3, 8 gigs of it are being used by the OS. Now, if I'm being honest, even in the context of this gaming generation, 60 gigs was not a whole lot. But now with the benefit of like 2 decades worth of technological advances, we can actually get SSDs, 2.5-inch drives to just stuff into our PS3 without spending a whole lot of money. The SATA controller that they use on the user upgradable hard drive bay is only rated for SATA 1, meaning while you certainly won't be getting a night and day difference in terms of speeds, at the very least with an SSD, you'll have way more reliability versus a conventional mechanical drive. And also, this should be better for thermals as well, which will be super important with our PS3 that's prone to overheating. I'm gonna be sticking this drive into our PS3 in just a moment, but before I even dive into mods, we probably should stick a PS3 game in here to see how well the console even works. Yo, it has been a minute. I definitely put in like hundreds of hours into COD 4 growing up. I even did multiplayer game battles back in the day with custom brackets and whatnot playing other teams. Do kids these days even know what game battles is? Probably not. But regardless, the game is functioning fine, though I will say the fan is kicking up so much right now. It's not particularly hot, but it's just loud. Now, if I really wanted to and had more time, I would actually open this PS3 up, maybe check on the cooling, maybe redo the thermal paste and whatnot, because after all, this is an old console. Let me know if you want to see that in a later video, but at the very least, I think it'll be easy to do not only our SSD mod as well, but also to install custom firmware. What I'm most interested in with the custom firmware on this console is the ability to set things like my fan speeds and whatnot manually. But yeah, the PS3 is working, so I just shut it down. I'm gonna let it cool off for a second, and we'll go ahead and install our SSD. All right, that could not be any more easier. Literally just took the old one out, hopped the SSD in, screwed it in. I just put the door back on and it should just work. All right, moment of truth. Let's turn it on. Got the beep. Sweet. We are all started up. So initially it's asking us if it's okay to format the drive. We will say yes. And it'll also tell us that we will lose all of the data on there if we format it. So we will also say yes. This whole process literally took only like 10 minutes. Damn, that was fast. Okay, I say that, but now we're not seeing anything. That is probably the most annoying thing about doing DIY stuff, even for the simplest upgrades. Sometimes you jinx yourself and think that you have it all set when ultimately something's not working properly. I don't like this. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna just cut off the power, kick her back on, and we'll make sure we're not getting any display issues here. I'm gonna hold this down. What this does is boot the PS3 into like a safe display mode. Come on, buddy. Come on. You were just working! Ain't no way a hard drive swap would break this PlayStation. Ain't no way. What the hell? Why is my luck so bad with this stuff? Well, ejecting the disc works, so at least there's that. All right, there's nothing for it. Let's try to boot this PS3 into safe mode. To do this, we're gonna hold down the power button for a very long time. Okay, cool, there's another beep. And I think I gotta hold it more for more beeps. Oh, it shut itself off. Okay. Oh, wait, I think I have to plug in the controller. Wait. The easiest upgrade became high maintenance for some reason. Let's do this again. Hold down the button. We have a beep. Oh, and then more beeps. Okay, cool. We have display. You know, I might as well just restore the PS3 altogether. I mean, there's no reason not to. This is a new to me PlayStation 3. Yes, please. Do your magic. Oh, and the fans kicked up very loud again. In case you guys couldn't hear it earlier, yeah, this console is pretty loud. Fingers crossed. Something? Anything? Oh my god, what is wrong here? Okay, I reformatted this SSD using disk utility on macOS, so it's just a clean exFAT drive, and we'll see if that does anything. Maybe in it trying to set up the SSD, it might have messed up somewhere in the process. Okay, we got some Japanese on the screen. Tell me what it says. It is necessary to format the main body of storage. Let's do that. Hi, yes, let's do it. Come on, man, you can do it. You can do it. Hit circle to continue, okay. Again, for something that should be a simple upgrade, this is becoming way more than I bargained for. We still have a black screen. Come on, man. Okay, brain blast. Biden blast! Okay, I think I have a solution. Looking it up on Reddit, it appears that the PS3 might not be happy with my 2 terabyte SSD because apparently it might not support that storage. All right, this is a Samsung 860 EVO, 1 terabyte. In theory, if storage was our problem for a larger capacity than the PS3 can handle, then that should fix our problem. This is where I admit I probably should have done a little more research to see what the PS3 could take, but I don't know, in my head, I just thought, you know what? We have a 2 terabyte SSD, might as well use it, but might need to go smaller. At this point, I'm willing to try anything to make this work.
2 very boring minutes later.
1 terabyte SSD is in. Fingers crossed that that's the problem. Oh, okay. All right, so lesson learned. 2 terabyte drive, not gonna work. Our PS3 is up and running. Sick. System information, and we are reading as close as we're gonna get to 1 terabyte. Though for some reason, by default, the PS3, after reinitializing this drive, is using like 110 gigabytes for the system OS, I'm assuming. That's weird. Didn't use that much when we had our 60 gig drive in there, but whatever, I won't question it. Cool, so our SSD saga is finished, but on to the next thing. I want to get custom firmware on this PS3. If I'm being honest, this is the first time I've ever considered jailbreaking a PS3 myself. Though honestly, I don't know what took me so long because it was really easy to do. Hey Austin, I jailbroke a PS3.
It's so loud. Why is it so loud?
Look, it's gained a few weight over the years, and it's this is what we call respiratory problems.
The jailbreak happens as if like it was a regular firmware update?
Yeah, but to do all of the checks and like patching and whatnot, it's all done via web browser.
Oh, because it's all WebKit exploits? Interesting.
I'm not gonna run you through the entire process because honestly, it's kind of boring on camera, and there are plenty of tutorials out there that already do the job very well. In particular, I use this one from Mr. Mario 2011 using PS3 toolset. This utility is specifically designed to run within the PlayStation web browser, though keep in mind you will also need a PC as well as a flash drive to carry out all the steps. Also, it turned out the stock firmware on my PS3 was extremely old out the box, to the point where PS3 toolset needed a newer version for it to work. So with nothing for it, I updated to that 4.91 firmware that came out in February, which was 100% compatible with the exploit. The jailbreaking process overall took about an hour and change between all of the prep work, downloading, patching, as well as getting key homebrew add-ons installed. But yeah, I got it all up and running without any problems.
There we go! Jailbreak activate!
Cool, I did it.
You didn't break this one? Like, did you break it at some point and then fixed it?
I can't break it if I don't open it.
Well, it's a 60 gig. It might just break by itself.
Well, that's why I want to open it. I can't break it if I don't open it.
It's almost like we're currently working on an entire PS3 video on the main channel too, which I'm going to prodigiously plug, shamelessly plug, the PS3 history.
Since I got the jailbreak up and running, I decided to try playing a US PS2 game on my Japanese PlayStation 3, which shouldn't be possible out the box, but holy shit, is it gonna work? Yo! Huh. Okay. So yeah, I can play US PS2 games on my Japanese PlayStation 3. Yeah, dude. Okay, what about a US PS1 game on my Japanese PlayStation 2? Let's get the OG Gran Turismo, pop it in. Gotta make a PS1 memory card, PlayStation format disc. Yo! Let's go. Hell yeah. Okay. All this is really cool because I didn't do anything all that special, obviously apart from doing the custom firmware and adding Multiman for the homebrew management. So yeah, now I am able to put in any North American or Japanese region game into my PS3, whether it's PlayStation 1, 2, or 3, it'll work totally fine. And also with Multiman, I'll be able to back up these discs onto an external drive or the internal SSD for extra added convenience. It might seem kind of silly to say and very obvious, but jailbreaking is pretty cool. All right, so our fans have normalized. They're not as loud as they were a second ago, but most importantly, we have Webman installed. So what this gives us is a way to monitor system temperatures, but also lets us change things like fan speed as well. So opening this up, it launches the web browser, and we are sitting at 67 degrees C right now just in the menu. It says that ideal operating temperatures should sit between 65 and 75 degrees C. So we're pretty decent right now. We're not playing a game, but I'll take that as, okay, the PS3 is doing fine in terms of thermals at the moment. But the most important thing here is that if we go to setup, this page gives us options for a whole lot of stuff, but in particular, I want to mess around with the fan settings here. So by default, it'll try to keep the temperatures at or below 68 degrees C, but they also have an auto number 2 mode. Now, in the documentation here, it actually outlines what the curve looks like, but the intention here is that it will try to keep the temperatures in check without completely leaning on the console going into jet engine mode and being super loud. So I think I'm gonna let auto number 2 just do its thing. With all of my settings saved, I put in Ridge Racer 7 to test all of this out, and I probably haven't touched this game in like 10 years. Harbor Line 765, Namco, if you guys know your Japanese. We'll just do automatic and let's race. Oh, yo, this game looks surprisingly good, especially on this OLED. Shame I don't have sound though. Oh, yeah, oh right, I forgot, we drift on rails in Ridge Racer. Yeah, man, this is running totally fine, and our fans are not cranking up like crazy. Oh, well, I say that, but it actually is slowly ramping up. Oh, man, I forgot that the physics are interesting in this game. Tokyo Drift, baby! So something really cool about Webman is if I pause our game, go into the XMB and hold start and select, it'll give us a bunch of information, including our CPU and GPU temps, as well as how fast our fans are running. I think there is a way to get this running as an overlay in your game, and Webman will also let you access all this information through the web browser in your phone or computer over your local network if you have that set up properly as well. But the fact that you can have all this information while you're playing is super useful, and you can even go as far as changing the settings on the fly. So by holding down a few buttons, for example, I can ramp down the fans and set the curves back to stock if I need a couple of moments of silence. And then once I'm done, I can hold those buttons again and have the fans kick back on as they should to keep the console cool. If you were looking to play PS3 games in 2024, you can certainly emulate on platforms such as PC, but there's just something to playing natively on the console itself. Software modding is especially a no-brainer in order to breathe extra life into the console, especially if you have a fat PS3. Though this probably isn't the last time you will see this console on the channel. There's obviously some preventative maintenance on the docket in order to make sure this fat PS3 runs in tip-top shape for years to come, and there is a lot more homebrew that I can do to get extra value out of it as well. Let me know what you would like to see in a future video down in the comments below. And otherwise, thanks for watching this video on Denki channel.